Hi, my name is Rita Kusi. Welcome to 30 Minutes with HR, your premier human resource show for employers and employees. Today we are live at the Society for Human Resource Management office, and we actually have an exciting topic. We are discussing human resource management alternatives with Mr. Kojo Misa, who is the president of the Society for Human Resource Management Forum Ghana, as well as principal consultant at CETAM. Tune in, it's going to be a great show. We'll be right back.
Everybody wants to be the best at what they do for the people they're doing it for. That's why, after 13 years of providing you with top-notch healthcare nationwide, the market leader in the private health insurance industry is going the extra mile for you. Instead of hopping from pharmacy to pharmacy, now you get your prescription drugs delivered straight to your doorstep. We will restock your chronic medication on the regular, so you don't have to stress to keep track. We provide on-site clinics that offers you professional medical consultation from the comfort of your office. Enjoy these amazing benefits and so much more by signing on to Nationwide Medical Insurance today. Call us on 0800-222-222 or email us at info@nationwidemh.com. Nationwide, we go the extra mile so you don't have to. Join the healthcare family.
Welcome back to 30 Minutes with HR. Today we are actually having an interesting conversation about human resource management alternatives. What exactly do we mean by human resource management alternatives? It's going to be a great topic. So I'm here again, joined by Mr. Kojo Misa. So Kojo, welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And yourself?
Very well.
Good. Yeah. Now, if you watched our first season, I'm sure you remember Mr. Misa was our first guest, actually.
That is very true.
So how has it been since coming on the show?
I thought it was a great show, and I saw the subsequent one with other great speakers, and good. I think you guys are doing a great job.
Good. We are trying, and I definitely appreciate you coming and sharing your expertise with us as well.
Anytime.
So let's get talking. When we talk about human resource management alternatives, what exactly are we talking about? What does that mean for businesses?
Yeah, I think let me take it from an angle of a small business perspective, because I think we need to demystify the concept that human resource is for large corporations where you have HR director, HR manager, and so on and so forth. I think HR is central to the success of every business. So be it small, medium, or large, you need HR. And I think the question we have to ask ourselves is, if I'm a small company, can I afford, let's say, a full-time HR manager? And the answer for most companies will be no. But then, do I need an HR function operating within my organization? And the answer is yes. So then, how do you get HR support without necessarily having an HR manager full-time on site? And I think that's what we need to look at.
Okay. Yeah. That's very, very interesting. So at KUSI Consultant, I mean, when we first started out, we were offering services to corporates, but then we realized how important the HR function is also for SMEs. So let's talk a bit about that. Does someone who's starting out need to have the same level of human resource processes in the organization as someone who is well seasoned as a corporate organization?
Yeah. I think the first thing is when you say human resource processes, I think the first thing is the human resource advice. So even at the startup phase, even before you build a business, if you can talk to an HR consultant or an HR friend or an HR affiliate, just to understand how to start well with having all the HR systems in place. When I say HR systems, you are going to hire at least one person.
Exactly.
The basic one is you are going to have to pay. Are you just going to do it by word of mouth, or you are going to have some written contract about the terms of engagement? That in itself is the fundamentals, the beginning of HR. So if you have an HR advice, not necessarily paid for, some of these basic ones you can get it for free, then you can first and foremost know how to recruit well by coming up with definitions of the job they are going to do, and that in itself will help you to do a contract, right? An employment contract for the person.
Okay.
So any issue that comes up, the person has a contract that tells the terms of engagement, how you can get rid of the person, and so on and so forth. So I think that's the fundamentals.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the services that we provide is the HR auditing, because it allows us to go into the organization and be able to help. First of all, you have to understand the culture, right? For an HR expert, you have to understand the culture of an organization before you can even provide advice. And we have a client who, they haven't actually started yet, but they are scheduled to start operations, I believe, in November. So someone like that, I mean, what should they start doing? You know, do you start putting the HR process in place when you hire that first employee, or way before you hire your first employee?
I think way before, because that first employee, at the very least, you are going to give them an employment contract.
Okay.
So really, that is the beginning of your HR. And then, how do you get the right person? You have to go through a recruitment process, right? So sometimes you find an external recruiter and give them an idea of the person you are looking for, and then they will help find the person and then get you involved in the interviewing process. So I think that's the beginning of it. But when I started by saying you have to have a conversation, say you want to start a small business, you haven't even started, you need to speak to HR. And I think a lot of people are doing that very well. Most of our HR colleagues, they'll call and they say, oh, I have somebody who is starting a small, and I'm advising them. Some of them are doing them for free, doing it for free. Others too are doing it for some pittance, right? So you don't need to go to big HR firms and all of that. You have friends, or you can go to HR firms that understand the needs of small business, and then start getting systems in place. And I think the basic one is, whoever you are going to engage the first time, it is very important to have an idea of what they are coming to do, and you can only do that through job description.
Exactly.
Even though for a startup, there will be the need for people to do various things beyond the job description. But the job description comes in to at least give you a fair idea of what they will be doing.
Exactly.
And then also to be able to let the person know that this is a small firm, you may be called upon to do other things which may not necessarily be specified. You have to pay them. And when you look at compliance issues, you have to pay your SNIT and all of those things. So you tell the person, I'll pay you 1,000 cedis. And then at the end of the day, you take some for SNIT and some for GRA. The person might not understand. If you have a contract, this contract spells out all those things, that even though I'm paying you 1,000, all statutory deductions will be made from this. Exactly. So from day one, we know where we are. We know under what circumstance can I get rid of you, or under what circumstance can you terminate the employment yourself. So I think that's the basis of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm quite impressed with a lot of the SMEs that are sprouting out now. A lot of entrepreneurs also that are establishing businesses, because there seems to be some interest in wanting to develop human resource and being able to groom the staff within the organization. With corporates though, you'll be amazed, right? Even though you think someone has a company with over 300 staff, they have the right processes for HR. Not necessarily. So what advice would you give to corporates who are, the HR is probably the last thing on their mind, or they might have one person managing a whole human resource department for a staff of so many?
Yeah, it always starts with the mindset of who is running the corporate, right? The management team, which is, how do they see HR? Do they see it as a cost to the organization, or somebody that can contribute to the bottom line. Because if you have HR, you are going to pay the HR person or the HR people and all of that. And then most people, let's say you are selling computers, right? You don't see HR doing the sales and bringing the money. So then you have to convince yourself what's the value for bringing an HR person on board. So until you understand the value, probably you don't need HR. So I think for corporations, small or large, the first thing is to understand what is the value of an HR service, be it in-house or being external. When I have HR advice, HR service, what does that give me? And I think we need to start thinking about HR is the one who is going to help bring the right people, develop them the right way, manage their performance so that the company can actually succeed. So I think earlier on you mentioned HR audit. If it's a big organization, the HR audit is just to find out whether currently our HR practices are at par with industry standards. So then more or less we are looking for gaps to fill. But for a newer company, the audit can still be done to look at what is my future expectations for this business. And then the audit will come up with maybe this first 6 months, this is what you have to put in place. By the next year, you should have ABCD in place. In the next medium term, up to 3 years, this is what you should have in place. So the HR audit for a new company is also a good way to scale up. How do you build your HR systems?
Exactly. So what we offer the smaller to medium organizations is more of coaching. So what policies should you actually implement at this stage where you are in the organization? So, you know, it's important that you mention, because we put a lot of focus on the managing the finances within the organization, but obviously the people matter just as much, because without the people, how do you actually make the money? You know, so it goes, and then you also need the money to be able to recruit and manage the people and pay the people, right, within your organization. I think what I hear a lot about with regards to human resource in Ghana, and I'm sure most parts of the continent, is HR is administrative. What does that mean?